The latest government data reported retail inflation in November at 5.88%. This was within the RBI's upper tolerance limit of 6%. Experts suggest it is a sign of inflation softening over time. The drop in retail inflation was largely driven by decreased food inflation. In October, food inflation in India was at 7%, which came down to 4.67% in November. This is the lowest in 11 months. Within the food basket, the key driver for containing the inflation was drop in vegetable prices. In a month, vegetable prices decreased by 8.3%. However, experts believe that the underlying inflationary pressures still remain. A major concern around food prices is the rising global fertilizer costs. An IMF paper recently suggested that 1% increase in fertilizer prices increases food commodity prices by 0.45%. It also argued that 45% of any change in fertilizer prices directly impact global cereal prices in 4 quarters. It has a delayed impact. With India's food inflation at its lowest in several months, is there a possibility of rising inflation in the coming quarters owing to rising fertilizer prices?
I think the rising fertilizer prices in the global market is largely a lagged impact of the high international oil prices that was there 3 months ago. So there is a lagged impact. So I think it is basically a cost push price that we are looking at the global prices. And it would have a transmission impact on the Indian economy as well, because we are the net importers of the fertilizers. My own understanding of the issue is that these high prices are going to be a short-lived, because we have seen that international prices actually come down, oil prices particularly, has actually come down to $82 or $83 per barrel. So, and that will start showing up on the international fertilizer price also.
Global fertilizer prices have doubled now compared to their pre-pandemic rates. Since the beginning of 2022, fertilizer prices have increased by almost 30%, triggered by the Russia-Ukraine war. This is because Russia and Ukraine account for 40% of the global potash production, which is a crucial fertilizer. The increase in price has led to a decline in sale by a whopping 39%.
If you correct the imbalance in respect of the size of the subsidy for the 3 types, then the consumption would fall, the demand would fall. If the demand falls, then the size of the subsidy should contract. When the demand tends to fall off, then prices will tend to temper. The prices will get tempered.
The turmoil in global prices has also worsened India's fertilizer consumption. Farmers have shifted from potash-based fertilizer to urea, phosphate-based and NPKs, which is sodium, phosphorus, potassium and sulfur. This is impacting soil health. Experts suggest a way to reverse this trend would be to introduce government subsidy on potash at par with NPKs.
The ratio of N and P and K should be 4:2:1. And currently the ratio is very, very against what this is suggesting, the ideal one. And the reason for that is that, urea is over-subsidized and DAP is over-subsidized. So what is happening is that to the detriment of our soil and to the detriment of the farmer's own productivity. Now, this is seriously problematic. The size of the fertilizer subsidy has itself been rising. So it's absolutely critical that we try and cut the subsidy bill. First, the government has to make sure that the balance between the various types of fertilizers, NP and K, the subsidy for each of those is solved. And at the same time, you may find that less fertilizer is begun to be used, in which case the size of the subsidy for the government would fall, which would have a good impact if it led to higher productivity, and higher productivity will keep food prices low.
Till October, India's food inflation had been higher than the average retail inflation in 2022. Even for much part of 2020, the starting year of the pandemic, food inflation was higher than retail inflation. The fear of soaring global fertilizer prices impacting food inflation in India is justified. The Russia-Ukraine war has greatly affected fertilizer production and prices, and there are no signs of the war coming to an end. The Indian government will have to better manage fertilizer subsidies to contain the possible increase in food inflation. The 2023 budget, that is 2 months away, will be crucial in this aspect.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.